remember, you can always take advantage of the fact that we have a playlist, a YouTube playlist, where I've recorded pretty much every single class since we started doing this. So take advantage of that. If your internet is glitchy and you're not listening to me, I'm trying to post by 2 p.m. the YouTube videos for that day, and I label them like week 4 class with the date, so you can see which class you need to watch. So it's not super hard to access that. And that link is on our website, the YouTube playlist link. Okay, so go ahead and grab your notes. We're going to continue in our, let me take that away from there, in our quest to finish and talk about credit and all of that. And I've already kind of explained to you why we're doing this, is because I want to teach you expository writing. And at the end of this unit, so I'm thinking in about 3 weeks, you're gonna have a project due. And just to give you an idea, my other English class is getting done with those projects, but yesterday I got somebody submit the project. So this girl did, go to the link for Google Classroom. This is from the other class. They're doing the same projects that you guys will be doing soon. So you can see theirs is due now or on Thursday, right? And now I have 3 people with their projects done. So this girl, and I'll just show you for showing, she did a website where she has these questions. You can click on them, all the stuff that I showed them. She explains APR and interest, how to build credit, college and debt, some tips. So a lot of the information, and obviously from the articles, and here's a little, so she created a website, right? How to prepare to be financially stable after high school. And she has all these sections. It's pretty cool. Like, I thought that was really nice that she got to do. And they get extra credit. You'll do as well. You'll get extra credit if you build websites, as well. Websites are pretty hard to build. So that's what she did for her project. And then she did, let me see what she did. She did a 1-pager. So she created a little, it's like a little slide almost. You can also do on 1-pager. So I'm asking you guys to do all the categories. As you can see, there's credit card, savings, college, car insurance, etc. So she did a little 1-pager, which also looks really nice. And then another person, I don't know what she did. Oh, she also did a website. So how does it, oh, there you go. How does a high school student prepare to be financially stable? And then she gives that. And then, oh, she goes to more stuff. So she has tabs in her website. And then obviously the other stuff, the other tabs. And she presents herself as a life coach, which is pretty nice. Anyway, so I wanted to show you guys that, because that's what you're going to be doing when we are done with our financial literacy unit. You're not going to do an essay, yay. You are going to do a project instead. So I'm kind of building the stuff, or giving you the stuff that you need to be able to build your project, which is why it's really important. They read the same readings that you guys are doing. So it's really important that you guys are reading, okay? All right, so we ended last class when we were talking about credit. And super quick, credit is how much a bank or a financial institution can trust you if they allow you to borrow money. So we said that there are different kinds of ways to borrow money. For example, you can have a regular loan, right? You went to the bank, you got $5,000 in loan, you owe them money. You got a mortgage, that's also borrowing money. You borrow money for a house, that's a mortgage, right? You got a loan for a car, right? You couldn't pay your car off, you got a loan for it. You borrow money every month through a credit card. That's borrowing money. All that is debt. And then there's the less famous ones like payday loans, like you go to this sometimes sketchy place and you give them your check in exchange for a loan, right? An advance in your check. And you'll get to cash your check later on and you'll pay them back as you get your check. Those are payday loans. There's title loans where you take the title of your car and you ask for money, they give it to you, and you leave your title as the deposit, almost like if you don't pay them back, they'll take your car. That's kind of how they work, right? I definitely don't recommend any of these two. But there's many different ways in which you can borrow money. Now, we came up with a few things to keep or establish your credit, which is number one, pay your money on time. If you're gonna borrow money, if you're gonna have a credit card, that's the number one thing you need to know about how to keep it, manage it, right? Pay back your money on time. Borrow as little as possible. That's, I know it's like a cliche, but you have to make sure that you're not getting into so much debt that later on you're not going to be able to have it. Dave Ramsey calls it a snowball. Like it's, started small and then it grew into this big thing that can overwhelm you and take you to bankruptcy. And then finally, to not miss payments. But life is going to happen to you. Your car is going to break, kid is going to get sick, your mom is going to, I don't know, something's going to happen to you. So you need to make sure that you plan ahead, and you plan ahead through your emergency fund. But moving on, there's something called credit history. Okay, and credit history is just how much time it has passed since you started your credit, started or established. I'm going to give that word, established credit, and how well you have paid it off. So two things: how well you've managed it, and how old is it? Like how much time has it been since you started it? So we gave it a little scenario. So far, are there any questions about what I'm teaching? No? Okay, so I'll continue on. Make sure you're paying attention or taking notes or adding into your notes if you have them, or grab them and add into your notes. So that's your credit history. When a person starts credit at 18 years old, they begin with a credit score of 300. 300 credit score. And I'll highlight that in like yellow. So no one ever starts with a 0. Okay, no one starts with a 0. The lowest you can have is a 300. Okay, so when you start your credit at 18 years old, when you start establishing your credit after high school, that's when you're 18, right? Your credit score starts at 300. That means it's the lowest of the lowest. You have no credit. So if you go to, I don't know, you go to the Ford dealer shop and you're trying to get a truck for the boys, or some girls love trucks. You're trying to get a truck that's, I don't know, $70,000, right? It costs $70,000, and you're trying to get a loan for it, and you have a 300 credit score. Guess what's going to happen? You're not going to get your car. They're going to tell you that you're an unreliable borrower, and they can't really let you borrow because you haven't shown any history of being able to pay back. If you have no job, you're not going to get your car, right? So it's kind of like stretching it. The dealer won't even let you have it. Same if you want to move into an apartment and you've never, unless maybe you know the person, but they check your score and your score's 300 because you've never had a score before, they may not let you rent that place. So that's how important credit is. And that's why I wanted to teach you guys about it. Okay. All right. Now we put a little scenario. You get a credit card at 18 years old, and you get a card that's $300 that lets you borrow $300 per month. What you have to do to manage it is you have to pay off your card every month, pay on time, etc. But then we said that something happened to you. You lost your job and you couldn't get to pay on time and you couldn't pay it. You maxed out your credit, meaning you finished your credit. That's going to result in a bad credit score. So if you started at 300, maybe you built it in, I don't know, 5 months, right? You built credit to 500. So you went from 300 to 500 score. If something bad happens to you, you're gonna go back to maybe 350, which is a bad credit score. So that's how important it is for you to pay back your debt every month, right? You have a credit card that is due every 15, you need to pay it back. That's how it works. If you can't pay it back, you need to communicate with them and say, look, I lost my job. I can't pay you back. Is there anything that I can do? And most of the time, they'll work with you. Anastasia, I don't know what you're doing, honey, but definitely not paying attention. So if you have a phone in front of you, which I can see, well, I don't know how this is funny. So yeah, so make sure that you're paying back your stuff. You know, you're not just borrowing money and you're not doing anything with it or just kind of wasting it away. Okay, with that, I wanted to talk to you guys about a credit card, a secured credit card, which is just a kind of credit card. It's a card with a limit that requires a deposit up front. So we put another scenario, right? Ruby goes to the credit card and she wants Chase. Chase asks Ruby, how much do you want on your card, on your secured credit card? And she says, oh, just 150. Now, what this card means, it means when she goes to the store and she spends more than $150, her card will decline. And that's only because it's a secured card, okay? Other cards don't decline because they're not secure, meaning they let you spend up to, I don't know, $1,000 limit, right? You can spend $1,000. But Ruby doesn't have, you know, she has a normal job, minimum wage. She can't afford to go spending $1,000 at once, you know, so she's not going to do that because she can't afford it. So how to manage a secured credit card? Well, we said, number one, do not spend all the money in it, okay? If you have a $300 limit, spend a little bit. Remember, the credit card is only for emergencies, like true emergencies, like you got no food left, no gas, you forgot your money or your cash or whatever, then you can use your credit card because that's the only thing available. But literally, the less you use it, the better, okay? Why? Because it's a lot easier to spend only $15 versus paying off $150. Because remember, life will always happen in some way. So it's easier to pay off debt, a small debt, than a big debt. Okay, and I put you the scenario. There is something called interest, and this is where I'm going to continue. I'm going to focus now. Go ahead and grab your notes. There's something out there called interest. Okay, and interest is the money added on to a debt. And interest is always calculated by percentage. So I'm going to go to, you don't have to go anywhere. I'm going to go. So no need to move up from here. I'm going to go to that. Ahorita no puedo. Okay. So I'm going to go to the website. You don't need to go to the website. I'm just going in there. So we're trying to learn how to build the credit, right? When you trying to get a card, right? So let's talk about this card over here. Discover, right? It's a pretty good card. It's a really nice company. But you know, through them, it's rated pretty good. It has no annual fee. But there's something in here called APR. Okay, so what is APR? Let me define that for you guys in our notes. APR and interest are the same thing. And it is, APR means the annual percentage rate. That's what APR, annual percentage rate. So that means yearly percentage rate. Now, let me go back to that. This card, the Discover card, has a introductory APR. That means they only charge you 11% on the balance. But look at what it says. It's kind of tricky, right? After 6 months of having the card, you'll go to a 23%. That's a high APR. So what does that mean? Let's look at 23%. So our example here is the Discover card, right? Mind you, this is a secured credit card, meaning if Abby, right there that I'm seeing, if Abby goes to Discover Bank and it says, hey, I want a credit card and I want it for 500 bucks, right? That's her secured credit. She puts a deposit, she has a card. This card will start charging 23% APR. So let's do some math. If Abby gets into debt for $500, right? Let's say that she gets into debt, she owes Discover 500 bucks. She doesn't pay them. Just says, I don't have money. Deal with it. Well, the bank, after 6 months, is gonna start charging 23% of whatever debt she has. So let's say she owes $500. How do you calculate APR? Pretty easy. You multiply 500 times, my bad, and I'll put the star as a sign for time, times 0.23. So 500 times 0.23. That equals $115. So Abby does not owe the bank $500. Abby owes 115 plus 500. Oops. So she owes a grand total of $615. That's how banks make their money. They charge you something really pretty called APR. And a lot of people think, oh, well, that's only a year. Yes, it says annual, meaning yearly, right? No, it's not. A lot of credit cards have this tiny, tiny writing that says we charge interest every single month. Some of them charge interest every single day. So you have to be very careful, okay? Which is why my best advice to you when you're 18, you're fresh out of high school, you're new to this whole financial thingamajig, don't go for $500. You know, don't spend $500 from your card. Spend 10 bucks. And if you can't pay those back, they won't charge you more than 20 cents for the interest, right? Because you're not spending that much. You don't have that much debt, okay? So again, interest works by calculating the percentage of the debt. How do you do that? You multiply. All I did was move the decimal 2 parts so that it's 1 and 2, right? And now I'm multiplying my debt times 0.23, which gave me 115. Now what I do is I add that into the original debt. So let me highlight them in like green. so you can see what I'm doing. Oops. So I calculated my percentage out of 500, what's 23% of 500, which gave me 115, and I'm gonna add that into my debt. And so now my new number is 615. No wonder the banks want you to just pay 25 bucks every month when you owe them 500. No one, guys, no one in their sane minds, like let's say Araceli owes Seth $1,000. Seth is not crazy. He's not gonna say, okay, Araceli, just send me $25 and you're good to go. No, he's not getting his money, you know, he's not getting his $1,000. So what he's doing is he's just telling Araceli to pay those 25 because he knows every time Araceli doesn't pay the whole debt, she's gonna owe him interest. Give me guys a second, you guys. The same problem like you guys. Estoy ocupada, así. No te preguntas si lo quieres así. 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 No así. No. Sorry, people talking to me. Okay, so that's how interest works. That's how it's calculated. And we're just talking a small little scenario for $500. Imagine a person who's borrowed $20,000 and has this much APR. They're gonna owe a lot of money. Very soon, they're not gonna have if they lose their job, how are they gonna pay back? So for all of you, Sable who's a senior already, but for all of you who in 3 years, you're gonna be 18 or you're gonna be 17 or whatever years you're gonna be soon. All of you need to know about interest. Interest is a dangerous thing. Debt is a dangerous thing. Now, I'm not trying to scare you off, but I am trying to give you the reality of how it works, okay? If you decide not to establish your credit right away, that's okay. Maybe you don't have a job. You can't really pay back that money that you're borrowing. That's wise, you know. But if you have a job and you want to start building or start establishing your credit, don't believe that you have to go in so much debt. Like the scenario that we were talking about with Ruby. Ruby got a card for 150 bucks. That's enough to start building her credit. You don't need a high debt card to build your credit. That's a lie. You also don't need to buy a car from a lot or a dealer to build your credit. That's another lie, okay? Is that clear with everybody? So no need to go into debt in order to build your credit. No need. Okay, let me go back to that. And so let me now talk about the score. And I didn't get a little. So I went back to here. You don't need to go here. I'm just referencing the ways in which you can build credit. So another thing that you can do to build credit is to become a co-signer. So how to build credit co-signer. Okay. There you go. Okay, what does becoming a co-signer means? Well, some of you guys as parents have credit cards already. Okay, so what they'll do when you're older or when you're 18 is a parent or a spouse. So if you want to marry at 18, have at it, but a parent or a spouse will give authorization to be responsible for your debt. So how does this work? Somebody older than you, it could also be a friend. It doesn't even have to be a family member. They can be responsible. So when you go and get a card, right, and you say, oh, I want to get a card. This is not a secured credit card. This is just a regular card, right? They say, oh, we want a card for this girl. Let me take, who are we going to take as an example? For Ashley, right? We're going to go, so I go with Ashley. I'm her mom or whatever. And I'm gonna go and request the card, not a secured credit card, just the card for her. And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna be responsible for her debt. So if Ashley doesn't pay, guess who the bank is gonna look to? Me. So they're not even gonna ask her to pay, they're gonna ask me to pay because I'm a co-signer. Her credit is gonna be damaged and my credit is gonna be damaged, okay? This is where you wanna be careful in getting people involved in your finances. If you're not ready to start credit, then don't get anybody involved, okay? But that's how you can also build credits, to have somebody become a co-signer. Admit, and then the chat. Okay. All right, I'm recording the session. So for those of you who are being kicked out, or I think Ben's computer died or something like that, I'm recording the session. So we got about 10 more minutes of this, okay? How else can you build your credit? You can also become an authorized credit card user. What does this mean? This means your mom or your dad or family member gives you permission to use their credit cards. So mind you, if you're using your mom's credit card, it's under your name, but it's her card, it's her money. So what you do is you need to pay that money back, and you cannot spend so much money on it because your mom and your dad is going to get pretty upset, and they're going to be responsible. So that family member is still responsible for your debt or the money you're borrowing, right? But you're building your credit. So becoming a co-signer and becoming an authorized credit card user is nice. I mean, if your parents can give you that, that's awesome. You know, you can rely on their credit gets a boost, you start your credit and whatnot. But it's also a double-edged sword. Why? It's family. And if you mess up, you're messing them up as well. And I know it's blunt, but you need to be careful. If this is the route that you're going to go in establishing credit, you need to be very, very, very careful in what you're doing, okay? And for those of you who, well, everybody who's going to be using, the thing you read goes into a lot more detail than what I'm doing, right? So this NerdWallet article that I gave you guys to read like almost a week ago gets you a lot more detail in how to build credit. Okay, so I'm just referencing from here, but this is where these are the quotes. This is the article that you'll find your quotes on. Where is that at? That's under week 3 materials in Google Classroom. And later on, I'll clean it up where just the materials will appear in the classwork and your homeworks will be on the side. Okay, but it's right there. There's the link to the website, and then you also had a graphic organizer to build. So make sure that you're doing those things, as well as your notes, which only 9 people have done. Still waiting for the rest of you. Okay, so that's how it works. Let me go back to this. So far we've seen 3 ways in which you can build your credit or establish your credit. One is, and I'm going to add him here as a little summary, ways to build credit. The number one, I feel like it's the most secured. Number one, it's a secured credit card. Number 2 is to have a cosign or become a cosigner. Oops. And number 3 is to be an authorized user. So these are the 3 ways in which you can establish your credit, like start it off, okay? There are other ways. You'll see their article. I think you can grab a loan, etc. But those are the only ones that we're going to be looking into. So those 3 ways, I want you to understand fully how they work. Okay. All right. Let me go into the last thing, and I'm going to grab a picture from Google so I can show you. That credit score. Okay. And this is available for everybody in Google. Let me see. Right here. This is a good one. Copy image. Okay. Paste it. There it is. So now that I've talked about those things, I want to show you how is it that your credit score is calculated. Okay. Do that. And let me present. Okay, so you're gonna take notes on this one as well. Okay, so you can understand what this picture means. Okay. All right. So how is the number, the score, calculated? Well, as I explained to you, when you start your credit score, when you start establishing it, this is you at 18, right? You're here. Why is your score bad if you don't even have score? Well, because you start with the bad score and you build up towards a good one, okay? This is where you start. You can also, let's say you're here on the good score and you messed up in your payments, stopped paying, went bankrupt, you can go back to the 300 very easily. In fact, it's a lot easier to go backwards than to move forward. So be very careful when handling that, okay? So here's where you stand at 18. A couple months pass and you're doing your payments well and everything, it can jump into the 400, 500 range. Now, 560 to 650, it's still bad. Like that's, but if you want to go and get an apartment rented, you might have a good chance in getting it. Maybe you're trying to get a loan, you might have a good chance. If you're trying to get a secure credit card, you only need a 300. So if you've never had one, you can get it. How is this number, whether it's a 300 and 850, calculated? Well, 35% of it, please take notes on this, is based on your payment history. And what is payment history? Payment history is the amount of time and how well you managed it. Okay, so when you get let's say you get a secured credit card, the first month, the second month even that you're doing your payments well, won't even count much. It's not until like the 6th, 7th month when your credit score kicks in. Okay, history has to do with paying everything on time, bills on time, everything. If you left the cable bill like unpaid and that went on to a collection agency, that's going to affect your credit score. Okay, you cannot leave stuff unpaid. It's not like, wait for me, I'll pay you later. No, you need to pay stuff, not just credit cards, bills, everything. Pay your stuff on time. And if you can't, call the company and say, look, I can't pay you, but let us work something out. That's better than going MIA on them. If you go MIA on them, the companies are going to think you don't want to pay them, and they're going to send a collection notice to you, and then your credit is going to be ruined because one payment. Okay. The second thing that plays a factor into your credit score is the amount of money you owe. So if you owe $100,000, your score is not that high, because you owe so much money, you have so much debt. But if you owe, I don't know, $2,000 and you have a good job, because that's how they measure it, then you're good. You're in a pretty good range. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. When we come back on Thursday, I'm gonna explain the other factors and what it means to have a credit. So what I want you guys to do for today in your classwork is to go to Google Classroom. Let me close that up. Under week 3 materials, so you click on that, there's a graphic organizer. Okay, that I have. What I want you to do is go to File, make a copy, and that's going to help you make a 1 copy. Okay, now I neglected telling you about this, so now I'm telling you before we go on into so much things. What do you have to do? You want to choose 2 quotes from each article, or in this case it was a book, to analyze. Make sure to only copy those things that you want in your project. Now, like I showed you earlier, this is the question that you're going to answer in your project. And I had told you about this question before. How does a high school student prepare to be financially stable after high school? Let me add that. After, and maybe even during, but during you can't do much. And I'll take that away. How does a student prepare to be financially stable after high school? And you have to explain that, right? So what you're gonna do for today is you're gonna grab quotes from Dave Ramsey chapter 1. And if you forgot where it is, that's under week 1 materials. There's the bald guy, that's the reading, okay? You're gonna grab 2 quotes that tell you, and look, I already kind of did it for you. Grab me a quote that talks about the emergency fund, and grab me a quote that talks about the steps to getting out of debt. Okay. Okay. When you are done with Dave Ramsey's quote, oh, and then you're going to do analysis. You already know how to do analysis. It's not a summary. You're analyzing what the information is saying. Then you're going to go, yes. Question? No. Okay. Then you're going to go to the how to build credit article that I gave you guys. That is under week 3 materials. So right where the graphic organizer is at, it's also the article that I want you guys to do next. Okay. Again, you're going to do 2 quotes. Can you do 3 for extra credit? Go for it. I don't mind it. And now you're going to choose, where does it say how to build credit? And then the 3 types of, there's more than 3. The 3 ways to build credit. So once again, you're grabbing me 2 quotes per article. We'll talk about tutoring in just a minute, Tara, okay? Okay, so you're gonna grab me 2 quotes per reading. So far, we've done 2 readings. So I only want 4 quotes, 2 for Dave Ramsey and 2 for the how to build the credit, okay? This is due today by 9 p.m. Okay, once again, both things, both the reading and the graphic organizer are under week 3 materials. Dave Ramsey's reading is under week 1 materials. You can see it right there. In week 1 materials, you also have that PowerPoint that I'm working with, right? This one, where you can go back to the notes. You can also use the notes because I'm taking stuff from the reading to teach you guys. So you can take stuff from the notes and put it in your analysis. Okay? All right, so now you're aware of your classwork. This is not homework. Homework is different. Okay, in fact, I'm gonna not give you homework today. So today there is no homework. The only have to do, what you have to do is you have to take 2 quotes per reading, right? Dave Ramsey and NerdWallet. and add them into the graphic organizer. Okay, that's what you have to do today. When is it due? Today by 9 p.m. So due today, today is the 27th, by 9 p.m. Okay, don't forget, this is due today. I already showed you how to do or what to do. And all you gotta do is copy and paste the quotes and write the analysis. It's not that hard. I already filled out this part for you, right? All you gotta do is find me the quotes, copy and paste them, and then literally you can copy and paste stuff. Like you go to that and you're like, oh, I found this pretty good quote on how to build credit, right? I'll just copy this part. I'm just giving you an example. I'm not saying that that's the part you got to work on. You got to look for. There it is, right? And all I got to do is paste it. Bam, I have my quote. Put it in quotes. And then all I got to do is write my analysis. Okay? So I'm even giving you the topic in which you have to, and I'm going to say plus manage. Okay, so here's the topic of what I want you to look for the quote, and then you just copy paste the quote, and then you write the analysis of that quote. Okay? All right. So that's what you're gonna do today, not homework. This is not due Thursday. This is due today by 9 p.m. And to get a copy of this, all you gotta do is say, make a copy. Okay? So I'm gonna add it into our classwork. Create assignment. I'm gonna say graphic organizer. And then I'm gonna say due. And all you gotta do is add from your Google Drive and you'll see your graphic organizer right there. But you have to make a copy first, okay? And that's how you're gonna do it. I think it has show your work in here, but that's for today. And it's 40 points, so it's a lot of points. 40 points, it's due today, Tuesday, by 9 p.m. Okay, and I'm gonna add it into the classwork topic so that when you go here and you click on classwork, it's right there, you see it? So it's no longer gonna be here on the stream or on the regular, like scroll down, it's there. It's gonna be on the side, inside the folder topic, classwork. It's due today. Okay, all right. I need Anastasia to stay behind. I need, where's my list? I need Erica to stay behind. And I need Brayden to stay behind. So those three people need to stay behind. Everybody else can leave. And then Tara, if you can stay behind so we can organize ourselves and how we're gonna do this, that'd be nice.
Yes.
Unless, well, we'll ask the kids right now. So I need Erica Velasco. I need Brayden Simser here. Oh, shoot, I need. And chat. Which notes, Abby? The ones that we took for today? Where's Abby? I think she left. Okay, I'll text her later. Okay, so everybody can leave except for Anastasia, Erica Velasco, and Brayden. Okay. And then everybody else can leave. You can leave the meeting now. So I need 3 people, Anastasia, Brayden, and Erica. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so let me stop the share and stop